Sam had been on and off with his ex-girlfriend for 3 years and finally made it official. On the day of his engagement, he suddenly thought of me. Did Amelia ever come back to get her things? His friends were stunned for a moment, then looked at him. Amelia is already married. Didn't you know? In the noisy chatter, Sam crushed the wine glass in his hand. The dark red wine, mixed with blood, dripped down his hand. Chapter 1. I came back at the wrong time. The door was wide open, shirts and dresses scattered across the floor, black stockings torn to shreds, lying openly on the sofa. When I reached the bedroom door, I could still hear faint moans. My trembling hand rested on the door, but I couldn't summon the courage to open it. I waited outside until the door opened. The woman who emerged had big, wavy curls, a beautiful face, and a hot, curvy figure. She wore a form-fitting couture dress, and the red marks on her neck brazenly revealed what had just happened inside. She glanced at me and gave a casual smile, then turned her head. Sam, do you want to explain it to her? Through the slightly open door, I saw Sam inside, freshly showered. He lounged lazily by the bed, still holding a lit cigarette. No need, she was just a fling. My heart sank. 3 years of being with him, and in the end, I was just a disposable fling. Fearing the tears that might fall the next second, I fled in embarrassment. Amelia, wait. Gloria chased after me. You probably already know who I am, right? I nodded. I had seen Gloria's photo in Sam's wallet. She was Sam's first love, his white moonlight. They had been entangled for years, breaking up and getting back together repeatedly, until she flew overseas 3 years ago. But now, the once youthful face in the photo had matured into a charming beauty. I've been on and off with Sam for so many years, and now we're finally settling down. She smiled as she pulled out a gold-stamped engagement invitation. The date on it was 3 months from now. These past 3 years when I was away. Thank you for taking care of Sam. I didn't take it. She wasn't angry, just looked at me calmly with the air of a winner. There's a cafe up ahead. Want to talk? It was a Monday afternoon, and there weren't many people in the cafe. Gloria ordered a chocolate latte, Sam's favorite flavor. Sam hates chocolate lattes. He always said they were too sweet and never understood why I liked them. Seeing me staring at the coffee, Gloria smiled. But after I went abroad, I heard he only drank chocolate lattes. Are you trying to say he never forgot you? She raised her brows, not denying it. I clenched my fists. In the 3 years we were together, he never once mentioned you. Gloria scoffed, her eyes full of pity. Do you know why I was willing to come back to him? Because during these 3 years, he kept chasing after me. Christmas 3 years ago, I had a fever. Guess who flew 20 hours to be by my side? And last year's New Year's, this year's Valentine's, I closed my eyes. All those times Sam had gone missing suddenly made sense. And there's one more thing, the most important thing. Gloria leaned in closer. Sam and I are childhood sweethearts, well matched in social status. Our marriage isn't just about love. It's a business alliance. But you, Amelia, if I remember correctly, isn't your mother still in the hospital? Still undergoing conservative treatment because you haven't been able to afford the surgery? The coffee on the table still steamed as Gloria walked away. She left behind a bank card on the table. Her parting words still echoed. Amelia, if I were you, I'd take the money and disappear. Chapter 2. When I told my best friend Roxana about what had happened, she spent half an hour cursing out Sam and Gloria. So in the end you were just a piece in their little game? I can't believe this. Sam is such a bastard. And to think how hard he chased you back then. Everyone had been shocked when Sam and I got together. Because Sam and Gloria's story was so well known, everyone assumed they would end up together. Gloria's in the past now. What? I'm supposed to hang myself on one tree forever? Come on. Let me introduce you. This is my new girlfriend, Amelia, a university's finance department flower. Sam casually draped his arm over my shoulder as he proudly introduced me at a party. At the time, my mom had just been diagnosed with lung cancer, and all our savings were being poured into her treatment. Everyone thought I was with Sam for his money, since he was a famous rich kid on campus. Even Sam himself believed it. But only Roxana knew the truth. I had had a crush on Sam since high school. In those days, buried in exam prep and staring at an uncertain future. He was the only light in my ordinary life. So, even though I knew about his epic past relationship, even though I knew he wasn't serious about me, I still fell headfirst into it. Even when my mom was desperately in need of money. I'd rather sell our house than ask Sam for help. Roxana once teased me. You've got the face of a femme fatale, but you act like some kind of love martyr. So, should I take the money? I hesitated as I asked. I really needed it, but accepting it felt like I was compromising with them. Take it. You gave him 3 years of your youth. Damn near carved your heart out for Sam. If you don't take that money, I'll lose respect for you. Besides, your mom's still in the hospital. You can't delay her treatment any longer. Roxana's frustrated voice came through the phone loud and clear. Hearing that, I clenched the bank card tightly in my hand. She was right, my mom couldn't wait anymore. When Sam called, I was at the hospital paying for my mom's surgery. Miss, your mother's surgery is still short by 200,000 yuan. Outside the ward, the nurse looked at me apologetically. I just paid 300,000, didn't I? She was on imported targeted drugs. 12,000 yuan per dose. Your mother's been on them for a month. Even with Gloria's 300,000, it still wasn't enough. The surgery is scheduled for a week from now. If the money isn't in by then, the slot goes to the next patient. With that, the nurse left. I looked through the glass at my pale, frail mother and slumped against the door in exhaustion. Just then, my phone rang. Hello? I answered without checking the caller ID. My heart heavy. Amelia, when are you going to pick up your junk? Sam's cold and lazy voice came through the receiver. Sam? Yeah, that voice, there was no mistaking it. You mean the stuff I left at your place? Ever since that day I caught him with Gloria, I hadn't gone back. I'd either been at the hospital or crashing at Roxana's. What else would I mean? He sounded impatient. Tomorrow at 9. If you don't come, I'm throwing it all out. He was about to hang up. Wait, can you lend me 200,000 yuan? Silence. I clutched the receiver tightly. Besides Roxana, I had no one else to ask. Sam owned his own company. 200,000 yuan wasn't a big deal for him. Then Gloria's voice came through the phone. Amelia, I didn't think you'd be this greedy. Her tone was lazy, laced with contempt. I'm sorry, Miss Gloria, my mom's surgery still needs 200,000. I really need it. So now you're lying just to get Sam's attention? If you keep harassing him for money, I won't hesitate to take back the 300,000 I gave you. She scoffed and hung up. Chapter 3. My hand gripping the phone was almost cramping, but I still held back the tears of humiliation that threatened to fall. I couldn't cry. Mom would notice. I stared at myself in the mirror for a long time. Once I was sure there were no visible signs, I walked into the hospital room with a smile. My mom had just finished a phone call. When she saw me, she waved gently. Amelia, come here. Mom, the doctor said your surgery is scheduled for next week. You're finally going to get treatment. I stepped forward and held her hand, now thin and frail from illness. Amelia, where did you get the money? My hand stiffened slightly, but I replied. I figured it out. Don't worry about it, okay? She looked at me for a long while and then smiled. Our Amelia has grown up. Who were you on the phone with just now? Your dad's old army friend, Oliver. He's pretty influential in Suzhou. If something happens to me, go to Suzhou. He'll take care of you. Don't say things like if something happens, you'll live a long life. Besides, I graduated years ago. I don't need anyone to take care of me. I lay on her shoulder, acting spoiled like I did as a child. But inside I couldn't suppress the sorrow. Mom knows her illness. Even with surgery, the chances of success aren't high. We've already sold the house because of me. If anything happens, you'll have nothing left in this city. At least in Suzhou, there's someone who can look after you. And I know you're not happy here. That Sam boy, he hasn't come to see me in a long time. Has he? Amelia, maybe starting over in a new place will be better. She gently stroked my hair, her eyes full of understanding. My eyes turned red. So Mom knew everything all along. Oliver will visit tomorrow morning at 9. Go pick him up at the airport. I nodded. already forgetting about the things I was supposed to collect from Sam's place the next day. Chapter 4. In the constant flow of people, I kept glancing toward the exit. Amelia? A low voice sounded beside me. I turned to look. A tall, upright man was standing in front of me. I hesitated for a second. He didn't seem the right age. Hi, I'm Oliver's grandson. I'm here on his behalf to visit your mother. He extended his hand politely. His handsome young face made me pause for a moment. Marco. Amelia. Suddenly, my phone rang. As I pulled it out, I was hit by the realization I had completely forgotten to pick up my stuff from Sam's place. Amelia, what are you doing? Don't play that hard-to-get crap with me. It's boring. His impatient voice came through. I could almost picture him frowning on the other end. Sorry, I'll go now. I patted my forehead. I had nearly forgotten. Marco, standing next to me, paused and quietly watched me. No need. I already threw it all out. His cold and distant voice came through the line. All right. I was silent for a while before hanging up. Mr. Marco, let's go. It's just as well. Whether it was the stuff or the person, they no longer had anything to do with me. After hanging up, Sam glanced at the necklace he had originally prepared to give to Amelia, and threw it into the trash with frustration. For some reason, knowing she wasn't coming made him feel even more agitated. The past few nights, every time he closed his eyes, he saw Amelia's tear-filled eyes peeking at him through the door crack. So heartbroken and desperate, it tugged at his conscience. It was all just mutual use, she for money, he for companionship. After Gloria left, he needed someone to pour his emotions onto. He didn't know why he chose her. Maybe it was those sparkling eyes she always had when she looked at him, just like Gloria's in her youth. The phone rang again. Sam picked it up immediately, not even realizing the trace of anticipation he felt. Amelia, I told you. I already threw it all. Sam, it's me, Gloria. Chapter 5. When I brought Marco to the hospital, I unexpectedly ran into Sam. He was holding a steaming cup of brown sugar water, patiently coaxing Gloria to drink it. Gloria looked pale and had lost the sharpness she had when we first met. Instead, she seemed more like the innocent girl in the photos. She lay sweetly in Sam's arms, letting him expertly massage her belly. I instinctively stopped walking. I've always been healthy and rarely suffered from menstrual cramps. The only time I did was on a rainy day when I rushed to deliver an important document Sam had left at home. The freezing rain soaked me to the bone, and when I finally staggered into Sam's office, he only frowned at the dirty water I had brought in. Raindrops dripped from my body, forming a muddy stream across the pristine marble floor. Are you stupid? It's raining and you didn't bring an umbrella? Where's the document? He reached out impatiently. I handed him the file. The moment our fingers brushed, I realized how cold I was, like a corpse. It started raining suddenly. I forgot the umbrella. Please check if the document got wet. The stabbing pain in my lower abdomen made me squat down. I furrowed my brows and struggled to speak. Sam knew I was on my period. When he saw me crouch, he stopped flipping through the papers and checked the time with a frown. I have a meeting to attend. Take a cab to the hospital yourself. I'll transfer the money for the visit. He casually sent me 5,000 yuan and walked off without looking back. It was my first relationship, and I didn't know how guys were supposed to behave at times like this. I thought he was just emotionally dense. Turns out he knew exactly what to do when a girl was in pain. Turns out it wasn't ignorance, he just didn't love me. Amelia? Marco turned around, confused when he saw I hadn't followed. I'm coming. I forced a smile and walked past Sam and Gloria as if nothing happened. Just as I passed by Sam, he sneered and mouthed quietly. Already found a new sugar daddy? So cheap. Amelia. I froze, trembling with rage. Slap. A clear handprint bloomed across Sam's face. I rubbed my reddened palm and turned back to him. Not as cheap as a cheater who jumps ship mid-relationship. It was something Roxana once said. I borrowed it without hesitation. Sam looked stunned for a second before springing to his feet in anger. Marco raised an eyebrow and calmly stepped in front of me. Let it go. Sam. Gloria tugged at Sam's sleeve. At her words, Sam reluctantly sat back down, though his expression remained stormy. I scoffed and pulled Marco toward the inpatient ward. Around the corner, Marco sensed a piercing gaze. Without changing expression, he glanced back. It was that same man, glaring at him. Marco chuckled and grabbed my arm, just in time to see Sam's face grow even darker. What is it? I looked at Marco, puzzled by his sudden movement. Nothing. Someone almost bumped into you, he answered calmly. I looked to my right and saw a patient within 4 walking past. Thanks, and sorry you had to witness that. Let's go. Chapter 6. In the disinfectant-filled hospital room, Marco was peeling an apple for my mom. Frowning, he clearly wasn't used to this kind of thing. His long fingers were tangled awkwardly, like twisted ropes. Pfft. I couldn't help but laugh. I gently took the nearly mangled apple from his hand. Let me do it. Any more and there'll be nothing left to eat. He coughed awkwardly, his ears turning red. My mom laughed too, watching Marco kindly. Marco, thank you for coming to see me. Auntie, my grandfather originally planned to come in person, but he fell at the doorstep just before leaving, so I came instead. At the mention of this, Marco's expression turned serious again. My grandfather always said, if it weren't for your husband carrying him out of the battlefield, he would have died. So before I left, he told me to treat you and Amelia like family. Also, this might be sudden, but if Amelia is willing, I'd like to marry her. My mom froze. The apple one held dropped to the floor. What did you say? I stammered. We only just met today. Amelia, I mean it. He looked at me seriously, then turned to my mother. I'm 30 years old. I lost both parents in a car accident when I was young. It's just me and my grandfather now. I'm managing the family business. I don't know the exact value of our assets, but I can guarantee Amelia will want for nothing. Auntie, after today, I believe you have some sense of my character. I will treat Amelia well. If you're worried, I can transfer part of my properties and assets to Amelia before the wedding as a guarantee. The mention of money made me hesitate very little. I agree. My mom looked at me in surprise, then placed her hand over mine and turned to Marco. Is it because of the debt of gratitude? Yes. And no, when you called my grandfather, he had this idea. On one hand, because I'm not getting any younger and still single, he's worried. On the other hand, it would make it easier to care for Amelia. Of course, it's all up to your wishes. My mom looked at me. Amelia? We couldn't delay the surgery costs any longer. Mom, I agree. She looked at me, confused, but respected my decision. Marco looked at me, his gaze deep and unreadable. Chapter 7. Because my mom wanted to see me married before her surgery, Marco and I registered our marriage just before the operation. All the promises he made, he kept them, one by one. When I saw the bank transaction notification pop up, I finally realized Marco was very, very rich, compared to Sam, whose business was only local. Marco's family enterprise extended across the country and even globally. On the day we registered our marriage, I did something rare. I posted on my social media 2 bright red marriage certificates and a pair of understated wedding bands. Right after posting, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications, but I ignored them until Roxana called. Amelia, am I even still your friend? I had to find out about your wedding through your Moments post. Roxana's shrill, wailing voice blasted through the phone, making me pull it away from my ear. Half laughing, half exasperated. Roxana, so much has happened these past few days, I didn't get a chance to tell you. Besides, my mom's surgery is tomorrow. Oh right. But girl, who on earth did you marry? Do you have any idea how much your wedding rings cost? They're worth tens of thousands. I froze and raised my right hand. The ring was from Marco. He'd sent me a few pictures and asked which pair I liked. I casually picked the one that looked nice. I just thought it was pretty. I didn't expect it to be so expensive. My mom's surgery went smoothly. Afterward, Marco thoughtfully arranged for professional caregivers. I stayed in the hospital for a week until my mom kicked me out. Where are you staying, Amelia? I'll drive you, Marco asked at the hospital entrance, loosening his tie and lowering his gaze to me. I hesitated, then awkwardly realized I had nowhere to go. He must have noticed my embarrassment, because he chuckled softly. Almost forgot we're already married. Wanna come home with me? He raised his eyebrows slightly and leaned in, his eyes deep and luminous, like a dazzling starry night. My breathing faltered instantly. Blushing, I nodded. Marco reached out to pat my head gently, smiling. Wait here, I'll get the car. I nodded obediently. Chapter 8. Amelia? That unpleasant voice rang out. I frowned, not wanting to respond. Seeing I didn't react, Sam grabbed my arm. I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me? I turned my head. Sure enough, it was Sam and Gloria. They were holding medical examination reports, probably here for their premarital checkup. From the looks of it, your mom's surgery fee is settled? Well, I guess it would be, considering how quickly you found a new sponsor. Gloria looked at me with a bright smile, but the mockery behind it was sharp. Sam, on the other hand, frowned deeply. Amelia, even if I dumped you, you shouldn't degrade yourself like this. Their words made me laugh out loud in disbelief. Being with you was degrading. Sam's narrow eyes flashed with anger again, and as I looked up at him, I noticed a familiar mark on his neck. Give me back my necklace. I grabbed his arm with surprising force. You? Sam followed my gaze and saw the slightly faded silver necklace around his neck. Gloria also glanced at it, her expression changing slightly. That necklace was my father's keepsake. It had broken before, and I sent it for repair. Using Sam's address, it must have ended up with him when it was delivered. A piece of junk, Sam muttered, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, as he yanked the necklace off and tossed it toward Gloria. You want it? She raised it up, eyes gleaming with mockery. Then come and get it yourself. She flicked her wrist and tossed the necklace into a trash bin, then shook her hand dismissively. Sam, let's go. Sam looked at me with a complicated expression, seemingly hesitating, but when he glanced up and saw the hint of displeasure on Gloria's face, he ended up taking her hand. Not far away, a brand new Rolls-Royce zoomed past and happened to drive right by the two of them. Sam and Marco's eyes met in a brief, sharp glance. Marco stepped out of the car and quickly strode toward me, pulling my hand away from the overturned trash bin. Amelia, what's wrong? My necklace. It was my dad's. I was sweating from anxiety. The bin was already tipped over, and I was about to reach into it. Inside was a pile of white hospital waste, reeking of strong disinfectant. A warm hand covered mine, followed by a calm and reassuring voice beside me. Don't worry, I'll help you find it. Marco returned with gloves and a mask from the nurse's station, then stepped into the pile of foul-smelling trash without even flinching. His tailored suit looked completely out of place among the garbage, but his expression was calm and focused. Just like him, my heart finally settled. I followed his lead and searched carefully. Soon, the silver necklace was found and placed into a prepared bag. I'll clean it for you first, then give it back. Marco smiled. I nodded gratefully. What I didn't notice was Marco glancing thoughtfully in the direction where Sam and Gloria had left. Chapter 9. Living quite the life now. Huh, Amelia. Roxana glanced around the room decor and commented with admiration. It was a standalone villa located in a well-known affluent lakeside district, surrounded by a peaceful and comfortable environment. After Marco brought me here that day, he said he needed to report the situation to his grandfather. Amelia, stay here and rest for a while. I'll come pick you up once I finish things. And that while turned into an entire month. He's not trying to keep a mistress in a golden cage, is he? I shook my head. Probably not. We're already legally married. Plus, we video call every day. His tone is always natural and affectionate. Amelia, why are you blushing? Roxana looked at me suspiciously. I smiled without answering. Roxana wouldn't let it go, and soon we were laughing and playfully bickering. Ding dong. The doorbell rang from outside the yard. I turned on the camera to check. Marco stood at the door in a casual outfit and sunglasses, holding a bouquet of flowers. I opened the door, and he smiled at me. Sunlight poured over him, making him look relaxed and carefree. I'm back. I smiled and nodded, taking the flowers from his hands. Amelia! Gloria suddenly rushed out of nowhere and yanked at my collar. What the hell did you do? Now all the orders from my family's company are gone. I shook off her hand and frowned at her. What are you talking about? Gloria tried to say more, but Marco cut her off. Miss Gloria, this is just a warning. If you touch Amelia again, I'll make sure your family's business is permanently shut out of a city's commercial circle. Gloria looked at Marco in shock. She seemed to think for a moment, What was this man's last name again? Something seemed to click, and her face turned pale. Just then, the community security guards rushed over and restrained her. She gave me a vicious look, but with Marco there, she didn't dare say another word. After that farce, I wasn't in the mood anymore. I gave Roxana a brief introduction, and she left shortly afterward. Only Marco and I remained in the house. I just stared at him silently, but he unexpectedly smiled, gently patting my head as if to comfort me. I was going to tell you eventually. What they did at the hospital entrance, I didn't forget. So I made a few moves while I was in Suching. A few moves? He nodded sincerely. Just a few. Well, considering how powerful his family is, it probably was just a few. I thought it was a small matter, and I didn't want you to worry. That's why I didn't mention it. Marco, always perceptive, sensed my mood. He rested his chin on my shoulder like a big fluffy dog. My heart softened a little, but I still said, from now on, anything related to me, no matter how big or small, you must tell me. Yes, ma'am, my dear wife. Hearing that playful tone of his, I blushed uncontrollably. He, however, seemed totally unaware and slowly leaned closer to my face. My whole body tensed up. I closed my eyes without realizing. 1 second, 2 seconds, nothing happened. I opened my eyes, only to see him laughing so hard he was bent over. I touched my flushed, burning face. He tricked me. Furious, I turned to leave, but he grabbed me, cupped my face in his hands, and gently kissed me. Chapter 10. On the other side, Gloria was lashing out at Sam. Who told you to throw away Amelia's necklace? Sam rubbed his temples in frustration. He had never seen Gloria this hysterical before. Luckily, he only gave us a warning. If he had really wanted to settle the score, both of our families would have been wiped out. You still have feelings for her, don't you? I've seen it for a long time, Gloria said bitterly, her eyes turning red after the words left her mouth. Of course not. I only love you. Seeing the always proud Gloria act so vulnerable and emotional melted Sam's heart. He gently pulled her into his arms and comforted her in a soft voice. I've already done what I can to coordinate things with your family and minimize the losses. Don't worry. I'll stay by your side. Gloria was touched and gradually calmed down in Sam's embrace. But in Sam's mind, for some reason, Amelia's stubborn face kept surfacing. Our wedding took place in September. It was low-key and simple, but warm and heartfelt. Afterward, we went abroad for a trip. Sam and Gloria's wedding was scheduled for October, but before they got married, Sam called me. Hello? I had just changed my phone and didn't have caller ID, so I didn't recognize the number. Amelia, how have you been? A deep male voice came through. I frowned, trying to place it, and after a dozen seconds, I finally figured it out. Sam? Marco, waiting for me at the door with our bags, raised an eyebrow when he heard the name and walked over to my side, silently asking if I needed him to handle it. I waved him off and kept talking on the phone. What is it? Nothing really. I cut him off. Sir, I'm married. If you call like this again with no boundaries, I'll have no choice but to block your number. I hung up the call, turning back. I saw Marco, my big jealous puppy, pouting slightly. I wrapped my arms around his neck with a smile. He immediately hugged my waist, rubbing his nose affectionately against mine. Amelia, meeting you is the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me. Extra, epilogue. Sam stared at the disconnected line for a long time. So long, in fact, that the wine glass in his hand shattered and cut his palm. Yet he didn't even flinch. It was true. Just like his friend said, Amelia was married. But she clearly. Sam blinked in a daze, only then realizing how long it had been since Amelia last reached out to him. The chaos around him felt distant. He just sat there, dazedly staring at Amelia's name in his blacklist. He had blocked her countless times. He couldn't even remember how many. It was like every time he was upset, his first instinct was to block her. But every time, Amelia had found a way to get back in touch. Everyone knew Amelia loved him. He had known since high school, because the way Amelia looked at him reminded him of a younger Gloria. There was always light in her eyes. She always followed him like his shadow. So when he and Gloria had a huge fight and she flew abroad, the first thing he did was confess to Amelia. Sure, Part of it was out of spite toward Gloria. But more than that, he was curious about Amelia, curious just how much she loved him. If Gloria was the dazzling sun, brilliant but blinding, then Amelia was a gentle moon, soft but warm. But maybe she was too gentle, too dim, and he thought he could throw her away whenever he pleased. It wasn't until now that Sam realized just how much he cared for that little moon. But she was married now? How could she not love him anymore? A wave of panic swept over Sam, fear of losing someone, not unlike what he felt when Gloria left 3 years ago. But this time, it was even more heartbreaking. Sam, the ceremony is starting. What are you doing here? Gloria, dressed in a fiery red gown, walked toward him from the crowd. Sam looked at Gloria's radiant face, but his mind was blank. After a long pause, he finally spoke with difficulty. Sorry, Gloria. I have something I need to do. The ceremony is cancelled. With that, Sam turned quickly to leave the hotel. Sam, if you walk out that door, I'll never forgive you for the rest of my life. Gloria's furious voice rang behind him. Sam took a deep breath, then turned back around. Gloria, maybe we should have ended things 3 years ago. With those words, Sam suddenly felt his heart beating again. After being apart from Amelia for so long, it was the first time he'd felt a sense of relief. Find me Amelia's flight. Her ID number is. Sam got in the car, calling his assistant while rushing to the airport. But just after hanging up, he got a call from Roxana. Sam, you ran from your own wedding? Sam was silent for a moment. Roxana sighed on the other end and reluctantly said, Amelia asked me to tell you something. He froze, excitement flooding his chest. Did she still care? What did she say? She said she's doing well, and she's happy. Roxana continued. Let me put it in words you'll understand. Stop bothering her. Sam pulled the car over. It was like someone had poured a bucket of cold water over his heart. The sky was dark, as if a heavy rain was about to fall. He suddenly remembered that stormy day when he had asked Amelia to fetch some documents. She was soaked to the bone but still trembling as she handed him the papers. When had the light in her eyes disappeared? Maybe it all started with that rain.